In this video, I'm going to show you one of my favorite models that I'm currently using in my n8n automations right now to help me extract data and information from my PDFs, my documents, my receipts, my invoices properly so I get the right output in order for my automation to fully work properly. So every once in a while, as you already know, you'll get receipts or documents of any sort that has different columns, different shades. It's very hard for a computer to properly read in order to extract the text out. So in order for your automation to properly work, it's just gonna fall apart. So I'm going to show you the three different phases. There's a good way, there's a better way, and a best way, and I'll show you and prove it to you how you can actually use this to your advantage. So the biggest chat model I'm using for this current phase is something called Mistral AI. I'll show you exactly what this looks like because most people are not using it right now, and this is why it's causing a lot of issues in their workflows. So if this type of content that you like watching, my name is Palmer Joseph. I've been using n8n for quite a while now. Absolutely love it. It has automated a lot of my business, a lot of my personal life. So if this type of content you like to watch, then please highly subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, hit that like button because I'll make sure that I'll pump out more content for you so that you can use n8n to its full advantage to make you more productive and be a more bigger asset in the workplace right now. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, so we're going to go into this one by one, and I'll prove it to you that using what most people do right now to extract information from PDFs or their files is not working properly most of the time, especially if you're dealing with invoices or receipts that look very unusual and it's not black and white. Let me give you an example right now. So I'll take this from the internet. This is a receipt. It's basically blank. I just made ChatGPT and I just downloaded it from the internet. If you have different shades and it's not black and white, like I said, it has a hard time extracting information because it cannot differentiate in your whole system, or your whole automation doesn't work properly. And we don't want that. So how we go about this is to actually use, like I said, something called Mistral AI. And if you don't know what that is, this is basically what it is. It stands for optical character recognition. It's a bunch of big words for me, but your best way of understanding this is that it's really, really good at understanding documents. It can handle images. It can actually extract whatever it is it's telling you to do. And that's basically it. I'm not going to get into the weeds because it is very, very complicated and it's very technical, and that's not what we're here for. I'm not here to tell you that. I'm not a coder myself. I don't have any coding background. I'm not an engineer. I'm not any of that. I just know how to utilize this to my advantage, and I want to show you how you can do that for yourself. So let's move past this. This is what most people do right now, is that they have an information extractor. But when it comes to the documents like I showed you right now with different shades, different backgrounds, different everything, it has a hard time and it just breaks down. So let me prove that to you. So to start this off, this is what most people do, is let's just use, you can use any kind of trigger. But in this instance, we're going to use a form submission. And how you can do this is you can click on the plus sign, type in form, and choose the first one is n8n form. Use the same trigger, which is only one trigger, and this is what it looks like. Okay, so if you double click on that, obviously this is test URL. There's no authentication needed. I can't even say that word for some reason. Form title is receipt because this is what I'm using as example, but you can change it to whatever you want. You can use document, you can use whatever, but just remember what it is that you named it as because you're going to be moving that along the workflow, because if you don't do that, it's just going to assume it's going to look for something called data, and it's all going to break apart. As we progress, you'll see exactly what I mean. So form description, I can just upload your receipt here. Again, you can name this whatever you want. I added a form element, which is a field name. I named the receipt. Again, change it whatever you want. Just remember what it is that you named it because you'll be using that later on as you progress through the workflow. File is the element type. I turned this off. I toggled this off for multiple files because I'll be uploading only one in this example, but if you want to do multiple, up to you. Accepted file types, you can leave that off and make sure that this is a required field. Besides that, that is literally it. Okay, so let me just execute the step just to show you what this looks like. Choose file. This is what it is. Simple, submit. That is good. Now we have an output, which is the receipt because I named it receipt. So you got to remember that. Okay, we can download it. It's exactly the same thing I just showed you right now. It is a binary data. Yeah. As we progress, we push this into the next one, which is extracting the file because we want to extract the information from the PDF. All right, as we already know, this is a PDF. Binary field is receipt. Default, this would be data. And how you can grab this is just go into plus sign, type in extract from file, and choose extract from PDF, which is exactly right there. Okay. Again, remember on default, this would say data, which is incorrect because we press execute step, nothing. So you have to remember, we take receipt or whatever you called it. If you name it document, it'll be document. Execute step. There you go. Now it has pulled out some information. But the problem is, we know there's text involved. Okay, let me show you that to you again. there's text involved in here. There's description, there's quantity, there's price, all that kind of jazz. But right now, when we extracted it from the extract file node, it didn't pick it up. And how we can prove that to you is we can come over, to table. We got the page number, blah, 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 information. Text is empty. So obviously, since there's no text, it will not be able to distinguish what information to extract out of your document. So this whole thing just falls apart. Let's just pin that, just make sure it doesn't disappear. We'll press play, and there it is, a problem in node information extractor. It says text for file 0 is not defined. That is because, like I said, when we come back to the previous node, which is the extract file, text is empty. So the whole thing just falls apart, and this is kind of useless and redundant right now. So that is what most people do, and that is why it's wrong. How we fix this is we can try this again. This time we'll go into the better method, which is using the actual node of Mistral. Now, as you already know, the information is still in here. It's still the exact same receipt that I've uploaded. But this time, let's double click on that. And how you get this is you click on plus sign, Mistral, it's right there. Okay, there's also a chat model. Perfectly fine, but in this situation, we're using Mistral AI. Click on that and extract text, and it'll bring you right here. You have to have a credential, so that's super, super simple. You can go back into the Mistral website and grab it from there. It's super easy. You can sign up. It's free for now. Just to test it out and to demo it yourself, just to have a better understanding of how this all works. So I'm not going to walk you through that. That's out of the scope of this, but all it's asking you for is basically your API key. There's no client secret. There's no client ID, none of that kind of stuff. So it's super simple. I'm sure you can figure that out, but if you need help with that, then comment down below. I'll make a full video about it, just show you step by step how you can grab that. But regardless of all that, what we're here now is that we're going to go into the configurations for you to actually use this to your advantage. Everything is default mostly right here, but what we're focused on is make sure that the document type is not image. If you're using an image, then obviously choose image, but in this situation, since we're using a document, it's a document, okay? So we'll leave it as document. Input type is binary, because remember, it's binary right here. And remember, the binary field default would say data. So you got to change that to whatever it is that you named it. So if you named the document, then this will be document. Okay, that is it. Now let's execute the step. Now, as we can see, there is a markdown. We can go into the table. Same thing, pages, model, usage. Now we have extracted text. Whereas in the previous one with the information extractor, nothing. It was blank because it couldn't extract the text out of the receipt. So it all fell apart. So this is actually very handy for you to fully understand that this is the information that we're trying to get for the AI to extract and to actually move around the data for you to actually move it along in the automation. So let me show you and prove that by bringing in the information extractor. Bring that down. Put that down here. Make sure chat model. I'm using 04 mini, 40 mini for my chat model. I like it as it is, perfectly fine. You can use whatever you want. You can test it out, but this is what I've been using right now. It's cheap and it's quick and it gets me the information I need. So let's open this up real quick. This is my AI agent for the information extractor. So for the text, you have to tell what it is that you're looking for. And for this will be blank in the beginning, but what you got to do is you have to tell it what text it's got to classify or clarify. And in that situation, it'll be the markdown. Drag that over there, which will be all of this, okay? Now, everything is blank here, but I'll just tell you what I'm looking for. So as you progress, you have to add attributes for it to fully understand what kind of information it's trying to extract from the document that you've presented it. So I put in the location, it's a string. I gave it a description, extract the location from the receipt. Obviously, this is going to be required because all receipts will have a location. So if you're trying to give this to your admin person or your bookkeeper, they're going to need this to understand like where to put it into like your QuickBooks or wherever the hell kind of books you have. So you have that. Made another attribute for date, obviously. And for the type, you have to choose date. It's not a string because a date is a date, right? Description, same thing. Extract the date from the receipt. Make sure it's required. Another attribute, subtotal amount. If you want this, I do, because it's very important for me to extract both the subtotal and the GST, because in Canada, I'm not sure what it is like in the tax laws in the US or wherever the hell you are. I want to make sure that I'm able to write off the GST. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not a legal professional by any means, but this just helps me. So I put in subtotal. The type here is obviously a number because it's a number. Extract the subtotal amount paid from the receipt. This is required. Another one is a GST, like I said a second ago. Want to get the GST out of this. Again, this is a number. Extract the total GST amount from the receipt. Required. Total amount altogether. We want to get that as a number. extract the total amount from the receipt, required. Lastly, it's not required because sometimes some receipts will not have it, perfectly fine. But this is the description. This will be a string because it'll be a bunch of words or letters, and that's what you need. I didn't toggle this on for required, but this is what I put into the description. Extract information from receipt of what is purchased or what was purchased. So it needs to understand if this is like a restaurant receipt, just output meals, so you can move it along. I'll show you. I have this all built out in a really, really big and extensive workflow. If you want to see what that actually looks like, where I'm actually using this in production for my business, let me know. Comment down below. I'll walk you through the entire thing step by step. So if this is a restaurant receipt, output meals. If this is a gas station receipt, this is for mileage because we write off mileage, right? If this is like an office expense type of purchase, then output the items that have been purchased in separate rows. If you're unsure, just omit this field because, like I said, this is not required. This is what it's going to look like. That is the description I gave it. I gave it a system prompt as well. I'll show you what that looks like. Yep. You are an expert extraction algorithm. Only extract relevant information from the text. If you do not know the value of an attribute asked to extract, you may omit the attribute's value. This is actually default. But I added this in. When extracting a location, include the name of the location along with the address, because when I was testing this before and it didn't have this inside, it just grabbed the address, which is redundant. It's helpful, but I also want to know where it's purchased from. So that's why I told it exactly to include both the name and the location. That is that. You can test this out yourself, all that kind of stuff. Now, let's execute the step. This time, like I said, like I showed you, it got the location, whereas in the previous one, in just the information extractor alone, it did not work. This time, it did, which is good because we can pass this along into the automation and it'll actually document all this and move it into different Google Sheets if you want it. You can push it into your QuickBooks and all that kind of stuff. But this is highly important for you to actually make the automation work. Now, you have the location. Let's just make sure that this is correct. Let's make this a little bit smaller. So let's see. Location, your company, Inc. 123 company, blah, 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 blah. Perfect. Everything is correct right there. Because remember, when we tried this earlier, had no text. Date is right there. Perfect. 1104 right there. Subtotal, 2555. Okay. Sales tax, which is GST. There you go. Total. There you go. And description is furniture. Correct. That is perfect. So this would be considered as an office expense if it is like office furniture. Okay. In this example, just ignore the fact that it's the dining table and all that kind of stuff. Because remember, I just made this up. But if this is like something related to your business, like your office, anything related to it, obviously you can write that off. Just understand this is all fake, right? Now, let's come back into this. This worked. Just to prove it to you, this is the better way of doing things, right? Now, let's click this off, come back down to the best way. This is the best way to do it because as you already know, there's going to be times when you get documents, receipts, invoices, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of messy and it's kind of blurry. Maybe there's a bunch of images. It's just, if you give it to an information extractor, as we've seen in the very first step, it'll get very confused and it will not output anything, as you already seen. So this is the best way. This is what I consider to be the most effective one when it comes to these types of circumstances. So with that being said, there is 3 HTTP request nodes from Mistral. There is one for upload file to Mistral, which is, I'll show you how to do this, get signed URL and get OCR results. This is the best way. It's going to give us the same kind of results as we did with the native node right here. But just understand, we're going to use this when it comes to receipts or invoices or any kind of document that is very, very hard for an AI to read. But again, just remember, we're going to get the same kind of information right now as we did with here. Just when it comes to using the best one, always keep in mind that give it to documents that are really hard to distinguish what is what, like data, information, all that kind of stuff. So same thing, we uploaded the same receipt that I showed you a second ago. 3 HTTP nodes, and how we can get this, we can go into Mistral. Again, you gotta get your credential. Once you're in there, all you gotta do is go into resources, API references. Let's pop that open. And let's go over to docs. And where is it? Yeah, document AI and then basic OCR. This is where we're gonna go. So this is very hard to understand, and I'm going to tell you right now, it took me a very long time to fully grasp what this is all about. So I'll just walk you through this step by step so that you know exactly what to do. So that being said, let's come back, and let's pretend that we are starting this from scratch, minus the form submission. So let's put an HTTP request, which is going to be right here. Let's pretend this didn't exist yet. So I'll walk you through the entire thing. So here, we're looking to upload a file to Mistral. double click on that. What we're looking for, if you come back to API documentation, is that we're not looking for OCR with PDF. It sounds like it is, but it's not. What we're looking for is actually an uploaded PDF. I messed this up very often back then, so I just want to let you know we're looking for uploaded PDF because we uploaded a PDF, kind of straightforward. So we're looking for the curl command. We don't care about TypeScript. We don't care about Python. We're looking strictly for curl command. All we got to do is hover over here, click on this copy button, bring it back to n8n, double click on that, import curl, paste that inside, import. Now it fills in the information as we need. As we already know, the method is post. This is the right URL, authentication. As I already have mine, I'm just going to choose what it is. It's a header auth. This is Mistral OCR. We're going to turn off the header because we already have that in the header authentication. Send body, everything is still the same. Form data for the parameter type, normal. Name, purpose. Value OCR, that's correct. Parameter type, n8n binary file. Name is file. Oh, we just got to turn this on. Actually, oops, sorry. Unclick that. Bring that up here, bring that in. This time we have the input, which is receipt. So remember, whatever we put it as, execute step. Now we have information. We have the ID and all this kind of jazz, which is great. So we are 1 out of 3 of the way through. You can change this to whatever it is that you want. This is called OCR with upload file. Okay, so we name that upload a file. Okay. Name it whatever you want. So that is one of the 3 steps. Next one, we got to do an HTTP request node again. This time we are doing not retrieve file. We are getting assigned URL, right? So we're going to take the curl command, copy that, bring this over, import curl, paste that in, import. Here, we're going to do the same thing again. Authentication, header auth, my Mistral OCR. Come down. We're going to turn off header because we already have that. Oh, wait. No. We're not going to turn it off because we need one of these parameters for the header, which is the name, except application is JSON. Okay? We'll remove this because we already have that, as we already did right here. Oh, sorry. Right here. Okay? Everything else correct? That is correct. That is correct. Nothing else. So let's execute step. Whoops. What am I missing here? One sec. Oh, yeah. Okay. So missed this part. Let's come back into here real quick. For the URL, I forgot to add in the ID. So let's change this to expression. Let's blow this up. So we put this variable in because it has $ID. Delete those 3. Grab this because that's the ID and put it in between where it was before. Now we can execute the step. There we go. Now we have the URL, which is what we're looking for because that is what we need to get the result. So as we already know, this is the second step. This is to get the signed URL. Let's just change this at signed URL. Okay. Lastly, one more HTTP node. This one is for getting the OCR results. So again, we're going to take the curl command, copy that, bring it over here, import, paste. This is a method as post. That's the same URL. Authentication is the same thing we did a second ago. It's going to make this super simple for us. Mistral. Okay, so now this is when it gets really confusing for me. I did a lot of testing of this. I kind of messed up a bunch of times, but I'll show you what exactly happened here. So as we can see, this is what we imported into as a curl command. This is where I kind of messed up on. Let's just change this really quick. Get OCR results. So we know. Everything is the same. Let's turn off the header because we already have that. Send body using JSON. Everything else is correct. Okay, so if we press, so we got to put in the signed URL. As you can see, it's right there. So what we got to do is change this to expression. Blow this up. Let's delete this and put in the actual URL, which goes right here in between the little quotes. But if you execute the step, so yeah, it didn't really work for me because we are not getting the proper information. Basically, we're just getting exact same information, but we actually have to break this up so we can actually give it to the information extractor to extract the proper information out about it. So this is where I got stuck at for a very long time. So let me show you how to actually get this fixed, because if I had a hard time with this, you will too. So when we're back here, all we have to do, instead of copying and pasting this, we can actually take everything from this curly bracket before this little apostrophe there, all the way up to this one. Copy that, come back into n8n. This time, we're going to go and put this in ourselves. Okay, paste that in. Again, change the URL, put our URL in between those quote marks. Go scroll down, go to add option. We're going to choose, where is it? Response. This one's going to be output. Our response format is JSON. Let's see if this works. Execute step. There you go. Now we have the correct information and we have the right information extracted. Now we can bring this into our information extractor. So let's cut that off, bring this up here, connect that. We got to change this up. And what we're going to do here is we're going to bring in this text that it's got to look into, okay, which is the markdown from the previous one, because we now have the OCR results. Everything will still stay the same. We have all the attributes we're trying to pull out, right? Execute step. There we go. We have the location, we have the date, subtotal, GST, total amount, and description. There we go. This is the best way to actually utilize Mistral to actually extract the right information, the right data out of your documents, your PDFs, any of that kind of stuff that sometimes we'll have a hard time with information extractors. So this is, like I said, the best way to do it. For receipts or documents that are like somewhat similar to what I just showed you here a second ago, the native node itself is good. But if you ever come across any situation where it has a hard time grabbing the information that you require, then to use these three HTTP nodes, and it will definitely get you the information that you want. And there you go. This is how you use Mistral to extract the right information, the right data out of anything that you're requiring to look at, like your PDFs, receipts, documents. Even if it's taken by your photo from your phone, you upload it to like Telegram and all that kind of stuff. You can do it whichever way you want. You can actually, after it's extracted, you can move it into your QuickBooks, wherever it is that will help your bookkeeper or your accountant to actually get all the information properly, so you can save time and maybe get rid of a position and save yourself some more money. And if you want more personalized help from myself, then make sure to click the link in the description below to join my free community where you can get more information for myself, get some help, and work with other people in the same niche as you, so we can all grow and get better together. So you found this video helpful, then please make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that notification bell, because this lets me know that I can keep on making these type of videos for you to help you out to get better and better with n8n and automations, so you become a bigger asset in the workforce, and just to automate your life better so you can make more money and overall become more efficient. So until next time, I'll catch you in the next video.